Well, it is off to Mom and Dad's room, I said. We then went to Mom and Dad's room in Robbinsog. Now, before I do this, I just want to make sure Mom and Dad are working late tonight, I asked. Yep, George answered. Yep, they aren't expected to be home until after 8 tonight. I talked with Mom as I was riding the Brown Line train from Gimbal to the Loop, said Dr. Marcassius. Then here I go, I said. Hold it. First, do you want me to move the bed? Dr. Marcassius asked. No. That would be too suspicious, and they would be very upset when the return. They were very upset when the return moved it. I answered. I then got up and laid on my parents' bed. Are you ready? George asked. Not yet. I need to make sure there is nothing on the other side to break my fall, I answered. I then checked, and there wasn't. All systems go. Okay, guys. Here is nothing. I think I am set, I said. Hold it. How are you going to make sure you land on your spine? Dr. Marcassius asked. Watch and learn, I said. I then laid on the bed, side of the bed, touching the wall. Blast off in 3, 2, I was saying before Dr. Marcassius interrupted. Hold it, said Dr. Marcassius. What is it? I asked, feeling a little bit irritated. This is your last chance to call it off, said Dr. Marcassius. Well, I am not going to. I then positioned myself to how I was before. Blast off in 3, 2, 1, I said. I then began rolling across the bed, and I was able to use my genius skills of pacing to land on my spine when I fell off. I didn't realize how painful it was until I hit the ground. Ow! I screamed. Are you okay? George asked. I knew it was going to be a bad idea, said Dr. Marcassius. I wasn't sure how true the statement that Dr. Marcassius just said is, because I have been crying the whole time because of the pain. Sam, seriously, are you okay? Dr. Marcassius asked. I was crying so hard I didn't have the strength to answer. However, I did have the strength to move my limbs, finger, and toes around gently, so I could tell I was not crippled, but then again, neither is Mom. Good. He can move around fine, Dr. Marcassius said. That provided me the strength for me to walk around the room. Good. He's absolutely fine. He's just in pain, said George behind me. When I entered my room, Dr. Marcassius and George soon followed. Again, I told you it was a bad idea, said Dr. Marcassius. No, this is what I thought and wanted to happen, I said to Dr. Marcassius and George. I then began to take off my shirt. What are you taking your shirt off for? George, take yours off too, I ordered. Why? George asked. Just don't ask, just do, I said. George then did as I said. Now what? George asked. Lie on your stomach and face down on your bed, I ordered George. George then did as I said again. Dr. Marcassius, this is where you come in, I said. What do you want me to do? Dr. Marcassius asked. I want you to run your finger up and down the center line of George's back until you have a photographic memory of it in your head, I ordered. I was able to see the look on Dr. Marcassius's face. I could tell he thought it was crazy, but I'm glad he didn't talk back to me. Ha! That tickles, said George. George, try not to laugh. I forgot to say I need you perfectly still, I said. Oh, sorry, said George. About another minute went by before Dr. Marcassius said he was finished. Finished, said Dr. Marcassius. You have full graphic memory? I asked. Of course. I wouldn't have stopped if I didn't have one, said Dr. Marcassius. Now, you do it to me, and let me know if you feel any areas are swollen or soft, I said. Are you sure? I don't want to put you in more pain. Which is something that me rubbing my fingers on your back can cause you, Dr. Marcassius asked. Do as I say. Yes, you Yes, it was a little bit painful, but it was also a little bit tickly a bit. I have a photographic memory now developed from my fingers, I said. Did you feel anything? I asked. No, nothing, said Dr. Morcassius. Does my back look red? I asked. Yes, but it looks like you got from carpet burn, which you got from your shirt when you landed, said Dr. Morcassius. Do me a favor. Can you go back to Mom and Dad's room and check where I landed to see if there was any blood on the floor? I asked. I will, said George. George then left the room. Never mind, I said. George then came back about 30 seconds later. Nope, there was nothing, said George. Then this experiment was a success. It went exactly how I wanted it to, I said. What? George asked. How? You were crying, said Dr. Morcassius. I know I was, but it went how I wanted it to, I said. So, how was your crying about it a success, said Dr. Morcassius. That I will save for my results tomorrow, I said. Will you be willing to discuss the results with me now, Dr. Morcassius asked. No, I need time for my brain to process everything. Oh, okay, that's understandable, Dr. Morcassius said. Oh, also, one more thing, George. You can't be here tomorrow to discuss the results, I said. Why? George asked. I can't tell you, I answered. Yeah, he's right. You probably shouldn't be here for this, said Dr. Morcassius. Can you tell me why? George asked Dr. Morcassius. No, because it took 2 seconds flat to figure out why it took me 2 seconds flat to figure out why he doesn't want you here, and I agree with him. You shouldn't be here for this, said Dr. Morcassius. Well then, I'm going to sit to tell Mom and Dad and make sure that they force you to let me in here, said George. No! I and Dr. Morcassius both yelled at once. Mom and Dad can't know a thing about this, I said. If you do that, the return could go to jail, and we could lose our only chance of trying to save Mom's life, said Dr. Morcassius. That pisses me off because I participated in all this experiment, George whined. George then punched the door. Fine, you can do that, said Dr. Morcassius. By now, I had calmed down, and I wasn't crying anymore. However, my heart began beating faster when the door opened a few seconds after George punched it. Is everything okay in here? Or Dad asked when he opened it. Yes, I said. Really? Because I heard someone scream and punch on the door as I was walking in. Or Dad wanted to make sure. Yes, everything is fine, said Dr. Morcassius. Okay, said our Dad. Where is Mom? I asked. She was passing Fullerton on the brown line as I was passing Roosevelt on the orange line, said our Dad. Great, so not too much longer, said Dr. Morcassius, who I knew said that because he wants Mom to begin cooking soon, as he has had a little bit of a stressful day because of me. What is she cooking? George asked. Steaks, said our Dad. Yay, said Dr. Morcassius. I have a good idea. George. How about you go to Harold Washington Library, State and Van Buren, and wait for Mom and Dad there, I said. That is a good idea, said George. I'll take you, said our Dad. Have fun, said Dr. Morcassius. Wait, aren't you coming too? Or Dad asked. Nope, I and Sam have had a stressful day, and we don't want to be bothered anymore, said Dr. Morcassius. Dr. Morcassius then pushed Sam out of the room and shut the door. Thank God he left his cloak outside the door, said Dr. Morcassius. I am sorry. Today was a little bit difficult for you, because it was a little bit stressful dealing with this experiment and its aftermath, I said. No apology necessary. I knew that going in. I just didn't want to deal with George having a temper tantrum. Neither did I. And tomorrow's going to be a stressful day for you, so tomorrow we are going to call it even. I am not sure if it's going to be stressful, because I actually like doing what I am going to do tomorrow. Either way, tomorrow's going to be a stress. Tomorrow's going to be a stress. We're going to be even, and even if you claim it is going to be non-stressful, it is going to be because of all the questions I'm going to ask you. I am prepared, and believe me, I am prepared. Are you prepared for more work I have for you after this? I am. I'm prepared to do it if it saves Mom's life. Okay. However, after this, we need to get cracking on those riddles the return left us. We will. The return never left us. The return never left us a deadline, but I will need to get this done. The next time I am at CVS, I will buy mints for concentration. However, the first and most important thing we need to do is tomorrow, and we need to discuss these results. Right.